Welcome to day 270 of your annual challenge. I see we're breaking up technologically, but let's go. Today we're talking about step 4 of our IDEANCE process with respect to spiritual health and well-being, and that is action. We want to analyze the options we came up with yesterday and take action. So I'm going to share a tool with you. We, of course, started with the 10-3-1 tool, which I moved the page yesterday. So we came up with 10 possible options for dealing with the spiritual health area that we want to either achieve a goal in by the end of the year or to improve if it's a challenge area. I mentioned I stuck with my same connection to my higher power as my overarching goal. I want to have an absolute positive, definite connection, easily to tap into by the end of this year. That's my goal. So today I'm going to share a tool called originally the 3 E's. I can't remember who I learned it from. Sorry about that. But I added 2 more E's. I was thinking about it and I'm like, I feel like there's some elements missing. There's another E that we need to consider when we're analyzing our alternatives. And the 3 I selected were getting a mentor, taking a Bible course or a Bible study course, and then joining a group, joining an appropriate spiritual or religious group based on my goals and objectives, because they all have their own way and framework of achieving closer connection to source. And so I might want to just tap into one of theirs instead of trying to reinvent the wheel and create my own. So what are these 5 E's that we want to use to analyze those 3 alternatives? And I always give them a rating score. Thank you, Mel Robbins doesn't do this, but she has the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 ACT book or movement. I guess it was kind of a movement where you have 5 seconds to take action. So you have to decide and act right away is the whole point. So we don't procrastinate. And so I like to rate things on a scale based on the number of alternatives or things I'm looking at. So instead of 3, 2, 1, I'm going to go 5. No, I am going to go 3, 2, 1 because I have 3 alternatives I picked. So obviously I haven't done this yet, but I make my little chart in my journal so that I can keep track of it. I like to document what's going on in my life all the time. So the first E is effective. Will, compared to one another or compared to something else I could do, how effective? Which and it's always a subjective guess, right? Which do I think is going to be the most effective? The mentor, the course, or the joining a group? That's up to me to decide. I get to compare them to each other. I'm going to give the one I think will be most effective, the 3, the highest number. Then I'm going to look at my effort level. What effort is going to be required for me to implement this particular action? And I'm going to give that, again, the one that takes the most effort is actually going to get the lowest number because I want to be able to add up the numbers, and whichever one has the highest overall score, that's the action I'm going to take today. I'm not going to make any excuses. I'm not going to let myself off the hook. I'm going to take action on that. I say now, but usually today because there's lots of other stuff going on. So effort level. Then we ask ourselves emotional readiness. Guess what? If I am not prepared emotionally to do anything or take action on this particular thing, it's going to slow me down. So I have to ask myself, how emotionally ready am I to get a mentor, find a mentor? And that's back to effort level. How long would it take me to find a really good mentor for this? Something that's just easier to Google and find a course or Google and find a group. But I have to decide based on the 3, what gets a 3, what gets a 2, what gets a 1. And we're looking at emotional resilience. Am I ready to do this? How ready am I? And will I take action on it today? And then 3, 2, 1 based on the different alternatives. And then I added expense because we got to consider what do things cost us in resources. And resources aren't just money, time, money, but I added energy. So we won't put energy into that because everything's energy, right? Everything's an exchange of energy. If I'm going to put energy into one thing, then I'm probably not putting it into all 3 things. So what am I willing to put? Emotional resilience. And then what's it going to cost me literally in resources? And then energy to me is time and energy. How much energy am I going to have to put forth to make this happen? Guess what? Only you can decide how much energy and how much of you want to put out into the world to get the thing that you say that you want. Nobody else is going to do it for us. I know. Would be nice, wouldn't it, if we had a fairy godmother with a magic wand that would just make our life exactly the way we want it to? Guess what? You are that fairy godmother with that magic wand. So once you figure that out, everything seems to fall into place. So here is our 5-step framework, or our 5-part framework to analyze our alternatives. Pick one and take action today. That is our action item today. You can use this tool to pick among alternatives, or you can just say, this is what I'm taking action on today. If I don't need to use a tool and I just know what I need to do next, I just do the next thing. I don't spend time doing this, but I like to break it down. So if you're a little, on the fence about, I don't know which alternative, I don't know which of my 10 plus things I came up with yesterday, I want to take action on today. So to get over that hump, that's when I apply a tool and I say, okay, whatever happens when I do this, assuming I'm going to be honest with myself as I'm giving it scores and ratings, because I have to assume that, right? Then whatever comes up, that's the thing I'm going to make myself take action on today. So share in the comments below. Just write action if you've done this, and when you've done it. Like I said, I haven't done mine yet. Obviously, I'm going to score mine later today, and I will put action in the comments below, and I encourage you to do the same. If you have an aha or anything that comes up or any questions, please ask me. Don't hesitate to ask ever. Go out, make it an awesome day, and make it an action-filled day, and I will, of course, do it tomorrow.